Good morning, everybody. So, I'm in my favorite parking garage, in my favorite stairwell, walking to the roof. Why am I walking to the roof? Because I know there won't be any people there. And I figure there won't be any people in the stairwell either, especially on the higher floors. So, the reason we are here right now is I want to shoot the intro for the next video. Not sure what the next video is going to be, but I went and took in the scrap, right? I went and took in what scrap we had, and I'm 80% sure I'm being ripped off. So I'm not going back. At least not. I got two options. I'm either not going back, or I'm waiting till a different guy's there. Here's what I think I've been getting ripped off the entire time. But I think the dollar signs kind of blinded me from caring. Because at that moment, I was taking in very large amounts, by my standards, on a regular basis, getting $100 a trip. So, you know, it eased the pain. Now, I'm going to show this off real quick. Here's what they gave me. Copper number 2 insulated, copper number 3 insulated, and copper number 2. A total of $49. Alright? Last time, I took in the same type of wire, maybe even by some classification, it was even worse. And I got copper number 2 insulated for it. This time, all the wire was better than that wire, for sure, because it's the wire that I would typically strip or burn to just get the straight up copper number 2. But I decided environmental friendliness and whatnot, so I wanted to lay off doing that unless I needed the money. Like, needed the money. Like, yeah, getting more money's nice, but, you know, first off, if I got caught, that could be a whole thing. And secondly, like, it's not healthy for me or the planet, so, you know, I figured it's not something I'm going to do unless it's something that's extremely worth it. Like, burning vacuum cleaner cords, and it's not really worth it. Like, I think you would get a price increase, but after going through all the steps it takes and, you know, cleaning it all up and getting enough of it, it might not be worth it. So, anyways, let's get to the point. So I'm pretty sure no matter how close you are to the next pound, so let's say you got 15 pounds and you're 15 pounds and 14 ounces, which 16 ounces are in a pound, if you don't know that. In American language, there's 16 ounces in a pound. So let's say you got 15 pounds of 14 ounces. They'll pay you 15 pounds. So they basically get the 14 ounces for free and you lose that. And that's what I observed, because I took in, it had to be a full pound of Bear Bright, or really, really close. So, it didn't even register. Like, when I took I showed you guys how they had to manually put the weight in. So I actually went to complain, and they had to manually put the weight in. So, yeah. And they downgraded my wire. So, the reason I'm saying this is because that pile of copper we found, that big pile, I anticipated on the conservative end of $500, and counting the stuff I took in from the house, we barely broke $450. I'm pretty good at this. Like, I'm pretty good at this. I'm decently good at guessing a weight, and I usually lowball myself so I don't feel as disappointed when the time comes. So $500 was a conservative estimate, and we ended up with $450, and that's with a little bit from the house. So yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. And then last time I brought in wire, I got copper wire number 2. They gypped me on the Bear Bright, and and I'm pretty sure I got less weight on copper number 2. So I'm thinking, like, all the big loads I took in, I think they gypped me like $10 a load. And then on this one, you see the copper insulated number 3 was 7 pounds. So let's say it would have rang up as 8 pounds, because they tared 2 pounds for the bucket. But let's say it would have rang up at 8 pounds for $1.20 instead of $1.65. I would have got $4 more there. And then if copper number 2, I'm almost positive there was about 15 pounds there, and they rang up for 13. So I'm not sure what exactly happened there, whether their scale is, I don't know. What I think's happening, what I think is honestly happening, is that they know I'm walking in, because I don't give them a car ID because I walk in. And they know they're the only scrapyard in the area. And they know they can pretty much get away with it. I think that's what it is. So even anticipating the copper price drop, I anticipated to get about $60 for this load, and we got 49. And like I said, I always lowball myself. So yeah, I'm done. I'm not taking it in there no more. I was gonna complain. I was gonna try to argue, but they're the only scrapyard around. I mean, when it comes right down to it, they can tell me to just take it somewhere else. So that's just, I'll save the step and save the headache, and that's just what I'm going to try to do. Copper dropped down to $3.20 a pound. When I started this, it was $3.55. I anticipated the price drops, so I'm not upset about that. I'm upset about, if they don't want to pay the appropriate amount, they should adjust their prices and be honest with people. But that's not how the world works. The biggest problem I have is they already pay less than most other scrapyards. So, like, when they were like $3.55 a pound for copper number 2, other people were paying $3.75 a pound. So it might not sound like much, but I took in about 150 pounds, and 20 cents a pound, that's $30. To me, $30 is a new pair of shoes, maybe, depending on the shoes, I guess. Either way, that's my analysis of the situation. And I mean, I have 2 options: taking it somewhere else, or trying to go in when the specific guy's working the scale. And I don't like either of those options. If the company allows it, I don't want any part of it. So we're gonna see what else we could do. Catch it a bit. All right, I'm not sure how alone we are. There was a couple people at the beginning of the trail. I'm gonna make this quick anyway. So I went over the receipts, and I was pondering about how much in total I think I lost out on. And I think it's probably, conservatively, as I do, I would say $75 to $100 throughout all the stuff I took in. Not the end of the world, but when you break it down, that's 30 pounds. That's like an entire trip for nothing. So, yeah, I'm going to change my plan. It's coming towards the end anyway. I mean, cleanup's over, and all the stuff's getting thicker, so it's going to be harder to find anything. So it's not that big of a deal. I'll have to find another money maker anyway, if I so desire. But scrapping's like a surefire way of good, honest money. So I'm not gonna stop doing it, but I think I'm gonna build up like much larger amounts at the house and see if I can figure out a way to either sell them to that guy I talked to, or like take them to a different scrapyard and see what happens there. Like I said, with as much work as I put into it, I'm not going to be nickeled and dimed, you know? So, that is that. So I still probably have approximately, when it's all cleaned up, 5 pounds of brass at the house. That's about $10 or so. But I still gotta clean it up a bit. So, trying to see how that goes. I don't know. Like, it is what it is. As far as it goes, when I took in the large amount, prices were like the second highest I've ever seen them. So, did I lose? I mean, not really. Not really. Granted, like I said, everywhere else was buying this stuff for $3.75, when this place was buying it for $3.55. But still, like, technically, there were times that I was taking in batches for $2.80. So, I mean, technically, I didn't lose, but it's not fair. It's not fair play. And, you know, I do my work fairly. I get everything I get fairly. That's probably why I don't get very much, because I'm not a scumbag. But and I expect fair treatment, which is usually one of my biggest downfalls. The problem with the world in most games is when you go into it thinking you're going to have a fair game and a fair chance, and you're going to treat everyone fairly, you learn pretty quickly that is not the case. You learn pretty quickly that in most cases, where people have the ability to take advantage, they will do so. So, that's why the world is the way it is for the most part. There's too many people that can see opportunity, and instead of treating it fairly and capitalizing on what they can, they exploit and take advantage of it till, you know, it no longer exists. Kind of like the theory on Social Security in the United States, you know, or government help things. So many people exploit it to the point in which there's not going to be any of it, supposedly. In my opinion, I think they tax people enough that everyone should be living at least a moderately decent life, but that's just my opinion. If everyone lived a moderately decent life, then I guess a lot of other people would be out of people they can control and manipulate. The power of money. If everybody's immediate needs and decent amount of wants are already taken care of, it's harder to manipulate people. Desperation is one of the easiest things to take advantage of. It's like I'm running a freaking tutorial on how to be a scumbag. Yeah, I always used to joke. Like, you know, I'm one heck of a good liar. I'm one heck of a good scumbag. That doesn't mean I'm going to capitalize on it. It's like the whole Spider-Man thing. Great power comes great responsibility. Just because you have the power, just because you have the capability, it's best to know when you're better off using it. Like the Robin Hood theory. I know I'm just rattling off a bunch of stuff here, but that's kind of how I feel. Like, just because you have the power doesn't always mean you should use it. In my case, I can't anyway. And you're probably thinking, well, why is that? Well, for the most part, I think people write me off, like, real quick, like. And you can't really get a foothold if you're being immediately written off. So that's my point. Anyways, like I said, I want to keep this short. I came out because apparently I got to go pick up milk. So I figured I'd walk this way and take the long way to the store. And then I'll go cut the grass. And that's gonna be most of my day. And I figured I would wrap up this video because it's kind of like the ending of, it's more or less the ending of the scrapping era. By the time I find more and get more than likely, it's gonna be like a month or two. And that's, once again, being conservative, because you can find it just about anywhere. It's just taking into consideration the undergrowth, taking into consideration cleanup's already over. It's just, it's a lot less likely. With that being said, I think I'll end this off here. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll try to come up with something interesting to do, because walk and talks are great. You almost get to see me die. But I can only say so much. There's only so much going on, I live in a small town. I try not to get involved in the drama. So, with me staying to myself, not having very many friends, and in a small town where I don't partake in drama, not a lot happens to me. Going grocery shopping and taking hikes. That's kind of, cutting the grass and gardening. Nothing too extravagant. I did have a thought for a very long-winded video. More or less, it would take a whole lot of time. Not so much me talking. It's just something that would take like a really long time to complete. And I don't like doing stuff like that because I never know how much time I have. So, I don't know. I might go for it. I might not. It's not a big deal. It's just something that I find interesting and I want to see if I can do it. Much like many of my DIY videos, I find it interesting and I want to see if I can do it. So, that's probably the plan. But, yeah, before I ramble on for another 15 minutes, I'll talk to you guys when I think of something later on.